out tonight. My name is Charles Moore. I have the privilege of being the mayor here in Irondale. And this is something that we've been doing since our administration started 2 years ago. I think this is probably number 5 or number 6 of these. I lose count of the town hall meetings where we open up and invite folks in. And it's really just, it's kind of an open forum. What I do, I'll take the first 25 or so minutes, maybe 30. Darius is going to give me the high sign back there when I get too long, and give you kind of an overview of a variety of things that are happening in the city. It's really an adaptation of a report speech that I gave to the Chamber of Commerce a few weeks ago on the state of the city. And so we're calling this just an update, a community update or city update. And I will run through a few things. I'll go real quickly through that. You will have hopefully plenty of opportunity once I'm done with that to ask any questions. We don't have any agenda beyond that. You can ask any questions that you want to ask. We may or may not have the answer for you tonight, but we'll promise to do our best to get you the answer. If we don't, we have our department heads here. Those who run the various departments of the city, I'm going to introduce them in just a little bit. And they'll be around and available to respond to individual questions. You may have something that only is specific to you and to your area or your home or your neighborhood, and you may want to talk more in depth with the appropriate department head on that. We have our police chaplain, Reverend McClure, here with us. He's going to come and offer a prayer for us here at the beginning, and then we will get right into the program. Pastor. It's also the pastor of the church right across the corner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Shall we pray? Eternal gracious God, our Father, we are so grateful and gracious and blessed to be here tonight and stand before your people and before your presence. We're praying now that you will have a powerful impact in our hearts, cause our minds to reason together, for you even said, come let us reason together. Cause your will to be enacted. Bless our city. Bless all those that have anything to do with this city. Allow your perfect will to be accomplished. In Jesus' name we pray and give you thanks. Amen. Amen. Short version.
Thank you, Pastor. I told them that they had me on the clock, so I asked him if he could do the short version prayer. And trust me, I've heard him before. That was the short version. So, all right, Patricia's going to help us with some of the slides. We're going to put some things up there. Hopefully you'll be able to see, and I'll just hit the high points of those. We're going to run through them really, really quickly. And kind of give you some updates on what's going on in the city. This is an update. This first slide is an update from last year, a report, similar report that I gave last year, just to kind of let you know where we were then, and then to show you where we've come to now. Last year we had an initial budget deficit projection of $700,000. What that means is, in October that year, when we got our budget and worked through all the best we could, we were still $700,000 short. And we were going to have to figure out how to make that up, take it out of reserves or make it up over the course of the year. And then about 2 months after we did that budget with a $700,000 deficit, Sam's Club closed. They called me up one morning about 10 till 9. They told their employees at 8:30 that they were closing up, and then they next notified me. And that was about on an annual basis, that's about a $1.4 million cut in the revenues to the city. So those of you who are good at math know that $700,000 deficit to begin with, $1.4 million loss puts you at $2.1 million in the hole, kind of real early on in the budget year. We worked very hard. The city staff worked very hard. They're very diligent. They're very conservative. They're very resourceful in how they use the funds that are allocated to them in their departments. And so over the course of that year, we were able to decrease expenses by $1.8 million, which is a huge, huge accomplishment. I don't know if you really understand the impact of that. I mean, they really worked hard. Everyone did. We delayed hiring where positions were open. We fixed stuff. We repaired stuff rather than buying new stuff. They even took one of the police cars. It cost about $40,000 to outfit a new police vehicle, and they took one of the old Crown Vics. I'll keep wanting to say Caprice, but Crown Vics, that was worn out. Took one of them, and our garage folks rebuilt it. And I mean, completely rebuilt it. New seats, new engine, new everything. Completely rebuilt it. And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, but who's going to want to drive the old car? Even though it was really good. And Chief, what, you had 2 or 3 of them wanting to get it full time, right?
They're fighting over it.
They loved it, as opposed to those new, sleek looking, nice looking Tahoes and Dodges and stuff that, you see and right by, wow, that's a nice car. But they really wanted the Crown Vic. So that's just one example of how we save money. We did that for about $10,000. So right there you see a huge savings. Anyway, so let's move on. You keep me going. So this year, that was last year. This year, we came out with a projected a budget that was balanced. I think we were like $500 to the good or something on our budget projections. So assuming that everything works out, then we should be good on a budget. Now you understand a budget's just a guide, it's a goal, and so we're going to work toward that. Hopefully we'll do much better than the $500 that was positive on that budget, but at least it's a lot better than starting out $700,000 in the hole. Let me talk to you just quickly about business development, about Commercial Development Authority, the Chamber of Commerce, and residential development. Here's this slide says since November 2016, more than 20 new businesses. We counted at the time we did this, we counted it was almost 30, I think. But more than 20 new businesses have opened in the city. Some of those are visible, some of those are not so visible to you. You see some pictures of some of those right there. Of course, Mercedes up on the top. What was the old Fabric Jungle, which is now Vintage Sports. There was redone and filled after years of being vacant. That's near my neighborhood where I live, so we're happy to have a tenant in there, or owner there. Alabama Appliance is the old PetSmart building, and they've been doing a lot of renovation work on that. Marty's GM. Those are just some pictures of some of those 20 or so, 20 plus businesses that came through. I'm going to have to put my glasses on for this one. And this is a quote from one of those business owners, who is actually a new business owner, and I was just going to read it. He wrote me a message about some other things and all, and this is kind of the last paragraph of it. He said, lastly, in your official capacity as mayor, I want to thank your team at City Hall, who has been most professional and positive city group I've ever worked with. It's been a real pleasure liaising with them. I found myself bringing checks by hand simply because the people there were so wonderful. Their helpful, can-do attitude is an example to any city that is trying to attract new businesses. I've been so incredibly impressed and grateful for your team's help and guidance. I was already a fan of your city, which is why he brought his business here. I was already a fan of your city, but this experience allows me to speak with authority when I tout Irondale's strengths, which I regularly do. What a great unsolicited compliment to the folks who work here and represent the city, to be able to say something like that. And I just, like I said, just pulled that out of the email that he sent to me as he was doing business with us. Next slide. Housing. Housing has been huge here. You know what they say. How do we get the grocery stores and the businesses that we want? You got to have the rooftops, and we've been building those now for several years. Grants Mill Valley, off of Grants Mill Road there, has opened up over the past couple of years. 60 homes have closed with an average sales price of over $275,000. 96% of the people who bought those homes in Grants Mill Crossing were new to Irondale. In other words, they didn't just move from one neighborhood to the other neighborhood. They came from outside of Irondale to Irondale. And the majority of them were between 18 and 34 years old. So we're getting a lot of young folks into our city as well. And here's a quote from one of the builders. It says, honestly, to me, it shows that Irondale on the Move is working. You are, 1, bringing new residents to increase rooftops and tax base, and 2, home prices are appreciating in our communities at a very fast pace. everyone wins. An example that I looked at there was Montevallo Park that was built by Tower Homes over here, just in Old Irondale here, finished a couple of years ago. Those houses have appreciated 6% since being built. Their prices are going up, or their valuations are going up, and at Grants Mill Crossing, the market value increase on those has been 13% over the last year or two. So not only getting the rooftops, but getting some good quality housing. This is another development, it's called Irondale Swim and Tennis Club, off of Old Leeds Road there, and there's 14 houses that have sold, 11 under construction. The average sales price is $550,000 on those houses. So you can see a range of housing stock that's coming in. Just quickly, infrastructure developments. We, for the first time ever, I think, in our history, have approved a road improvement plan where we will try to begin making systematic and regular improvements to the roadways, the paving, the sealing, those sorts of things, systematically over a period of years by groupings of streets and areas that are most needy. This will take away some of the internal politicking of, what about my street, or what about your street, or what about my neighborhood, or I represent this district, or you represent that district. So we had our engineers go through the whole city and look at the streets and categorize those for us. Interestingly, the city council recently just allocated $200,000 to begin the work on that. That'll come out of some of our various funds that we have that can be used for road pavement and improvement. Sidewalk installation was complete. Some of the council members have worked on that for a number of years, and it finally came to fruition here over the last year. Connects Ruffner Park with some of Old Irondale, Montevallo, Monticello, and those areas there. And I shared this story at the chamber meeting, why we do what we do and why those kinds of things are important, and why it's important to persevere and keep at it. One day I turned on Montevallo there off of 16th Street, and turned onto Montevallo, and I saw coming down a gentleman that I recognized as a homeowner who lived in Montevallo Park in a wheelchair, riding down the sidewalk holding his little child in his lap. And that would not have been possible prior to that happening. So that's just one example of the good that comes out of something. You say, why are sidewalks important? Why are some of these other things important? Is because it affects the quality of life for the folks that we serve. So great job on those who worked on that over the years. Donna Pike being one of those that worked on it as a former city council member, and Terry is here, Steve is here, council having taken the initiative on that. So interstate lighting, some of you have asked about that. It's dark on the interstate at Grants Mill, Kilgore Memorial, Old Leeds, 459. Working on that. We don't have the funds to replace all that lighting. We've told the state that. The state has come alongside now and has repaired some of it and is continuing to assess, and hopefully will repair some. So we're hoping to make more improvements in that area as well. Adopted a new stormwater management plan. That's kind of boring but kind of important. So just put that in there for you, and I don't spend much time on it. City Hall and municipal buildings being updated. I hope that you have noted a difference in the appearance and kind of brought it into the modern era a bit. So we were pleased with that. Again, doing that work by ourselves, I say in-house, and saving tons of money by doing it that way. So the Public Works guys have done a great job on that. Let's see, community developments. I kind of lost on that one. All right. So just some of the things that we focused on over time here. public safety, the community engagement. The police department's done a fantastic job, and the fire department's doing a fantastic job of getting out in the public, not just in their own little domain, but getting out. And we implemented this with the police department. The chief implemented this. There's a door hanger program for businesses. Our night shift officers, they go around, and rather than just driving through the parking lot, and saying, well, everything's okay, maybe passing by once through the night, they actually get out, check the doors. Officer Lewis, you had an experience last night, didn't you?
Yes, sir, it was a great one.
What'd you do?
Alabama Appliances has some very, very valuable stoves, refrigerators, and everything. $5,000-$10,000 piece of equipment, front door is wide open. No alarm system was activated as you get inside the building. I could have just carried off about 10 of them.
Yeah, no. So thank you. I mean, that's just one example. I mean, they found countless doors. You'd be surprised how many doors they found unlocked when they go up, they pull on the handle. For whatever reason, they fail to get locked or it's open or whatever. And so that's something new. One of the commitments I made when I was running for mayor was that, our police would get out into the communities, get out into the neighborhoods and the businesses like this and actually get out of the car. And that's how Officer Lewis found that, was by getting out of the car. And it really helps. Our businesses are really appreciating that. We're looking possibly expanding that to our day shift on a little different scale, not just with businesses, but maybe in some of the residential neighborhoods. So we'll see how that develops. Citizens View is not implemented yet, but it's something that we're working on. And just very quickly, that's where we're going to give residents the opportunity to sign in. If you have video camera surveillance at your house, that you can let us know that. We will develop a grid, if you will, or a spreadsheet that lets us know who has that. And if we have issues, we have crime, if someone's riding through the neighborhood, somebody's doing something not supposed to be doing, then we know we can call on you if you have that camera system at your house that captures part of the road. Or if we have a crime that happens, it'll help us to go back and track that down a little bit better. So that we're working on that. That's being developed. Some of the events we're doing a couple of great events in the fall. Community trunk or treat. Our staff has a good time doing that right out here on closing the street down, and we had hundreds of people who attended that over the last couple of years. National Night Out, the same thing, where the police and fire department partner together and put that on. Just a real good community event. Other amenities, quality of life, our parks, like our Hava River landing enhancements, our public works folks have been working down there some and made some improvements and some enhancements, and it's just a nice area. If you haven't been down there lately, that's at Grants Mill, Hava River at Grants Mill. Our library, our senior center, our Irondale Arts Council, all are great additions to the quality of life that we have. Just fantastic in what they do. The senior center is regularly packed out at capacity. The library has some of the greatest programs and speakers and most interesting things going on. You really need to check out both the senior center and the library on their calendar of events and see which ones you would be interested in if you've not done that before. Irondale Arts Council in Marino heads that up and is really growing, and they have a few events throughout the year. They're little pop-up art shows. They're really nice. You should take advantage of those as well. Abatement, I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. Communication, we've started with a newsletter. We don't have a real good distribution method for it. Sometimes we put it in the water bill. Sometimes we do some other things. We're still working on that in these town hall meetings. Next one. Abatement. I intentionally put that up there because I knew you couldn't read it. No, I'm serious. I told her, I said, put that up. It's too small to read. They won't be able to see it. What I wanted you to see was just the scope. All of those, each one of those, you can see that there's different things on there. Each one of those lines is a situation that we have, either we have done it or the owner has done it, where we have abated nuisances in the city. Marty's the head, you're the head of the abatement board, right, Marty? And I know you all have been working diligently on some projects on that, and some of those are on here, and others as well that we do just from a staff standpoint. The point there is more than ever before, the city has taken seriously, you know, if properties are overgrown, you know, there's issues there that we're going to address it. We're going to deal with it. We're going to all be good neighbors, and we're going to all expect the same thing that we would expect to give, the same thing that we would expect to receive. So Charles Desmond's our building inspector official, and does a good job with that. Next slide. Where did I miss this one? Did I miss all those? Can you go back to that? Sorry, I was back. I just want to point out a picture. That's not the cutest couple of pictures there, I want to tell you. Look at the little policeman and the little fireman. That was at our I think that was at Trunk or Treat, right? Trunk or Treat. They had dressed up for Halloween. They dressed up as a policeman and as a fireman. And our fire chief and our police chief got the picture taken with them. So I think they will help our fire chief and police chief become famous. All right. Just a few quotes, what residents are saying. These are just a few excerpts from emails that we get, or things that are posted, or letters that are written. Some of them as recent as today. I think actually the first one that thanks Irondale for picking up the litter along Belmont Road. Somebody, I don't even know who it was, I don't remember who it was. Somebody posted that on Facebook today. Great comment, you know, because I'm going to tell you, we take pride. I got a letter today also. I opened a letter that came today, and it was about a 2-page letter. It had 2 pages of the content of the letter, and it had about 2 more pages of people that this resident, Irondale resident, had sent it to, including the city of Irondale, the city of Birmingham, Jefferson County, St. Clair County, and seems like there's one or two more. And what her letter was talking about was, can we not get this litter cleaned up? And she complimented us on what Irondale was doing, and she was challenging those surrounding areas, because a lot of times we get credit for areas that are not ours, or blame for areas that are not ours. So it is no joke. You know, and I've noticed this, and I sent her a response back and thanked her for writing, thanked her for recognizing what we do, and also for challenging those other municipalities. Because you don't have to go 50 feet outside of the city limits of Irondale, and you see a whole bunch of trash on the streets. And if you don't believe me, just go out here and go to Montevallo, and where the city limits of Irondale ends right before you get on the interstate, start looking and see. Or come down Crestwood from Birmingham, come down Crestwood, and you get to where the interstate crosses over, it's basically the Irondale city line, and see if the trash doesn't stop when you get to Irondale. Now, I want to say this. The trash doesn't stop in Irondale, it doesn't stop getting thrown out in Irondale. Our guys just pick it up. I mean, and it's a lot of work, and it's frustrating, and it's aggravating to go pick it up, and then tomorrow somebody else is throwing something back out. But we keep doing it because we take pride in the city. So anyway, this person said thanks for picking it up on Belmont, but I could say I saw them on 78 today and other places picking up. Hands down, the best debris and trash pickup ever. These guys do a fantastic job, bringing their shine. About the buildings here, someone wrote and said all the buildings look fresh and great, very professional. Someone else said Irondale is fortunate to have such a fine police department. We have a great public works department. Some residents don't know how lucky we are, and on and on and on they go. And so thank you for the kind comments. What are the next steps for us? What's coming? Some of the businesses. Some of these are already under construction, and some are yet to get under construction. Kendall Electric is getting ready to start within the next month or so. It's on Grants Mill Road. It's an electrical supply company. Racetrack, the service station convenience store. is working toward closing on their property, which is right here at where the collateral buildings are, right on the corner of Kilgore and 78. Abington Summit Point is under construction. It's on Grants Mill Road, right after you pass, if you're going up the hill, right after you pass Old Grants Mill Road to your left there. We're working on some signage, some interior signage for City Hall. Motion Industries is doing a huge expansion of about $6 million. We put out requests for proposals for a park plan for Ruffner Park. Sam's Club property has a lot of interest in it. I get asked that question a lot. I don't have the answer, except to say that there's a lot of interest. I know there are people who've made very good offers on the property. The challenge there is Walmart is very difficult to work with. They put lots of restrictions on the property, lots of things you can't. If you name something, I guarantee you, if I asked 3 of you to name what would you like to see there, they would be on the restricted list. What would you like to see at Sam's Club? Real quick.
Grocery store.
Costco, grocery store, what else?
Kroger.
Senior center.
Get a Kroger.
Kroger. Okay, so you got grocery.
Senior center.
Senior center. What else? You can't do recreation. You can't do food. You can't. Here's the way I sum it up to most people. You can't do anything that Walmart does. Okay?
That's the problem. Walmart does everything.
So they're pretty much covered. There are a few things, but they pretty much cover most of the stuff that most people would want to put in that building up there. So anyway, that's so the Sam's Club property, Cesta Motel property. We're hoping tragic circumstances there, but we're hoping that property gets cleaned up. And by cleaned up, I mean hopefully will be demolished. We'll see how that works out. There's some things in the works on that. So we'll see how that goes. I want to introduce our department heads. We're going to take some questions and answers here in just a moment, but I want you to see who they are. I'll try to just single you all out. Frank Stewart back in the back, our city clerk.
Melanie.
Ruth representing the senior center. All right, I'm just kind of picking up. Josh McDaniel, Chief Josh McDaniel here. Charles Desmond is with our building inspections department. Frank Pennington, Public Works. Dale Wilson, Library. And Chief Atkinson back here. And who did I miss? Oh, Melanie here. Sorry, I went to the left there. Melanie is our Colston is our magistrate, and we have Susan Clark is not able to be with us, so Ruth is filling in. Susan's not able to be with us because of not feeling well today. So those are folks. So if you, after this is over, if you have questions or if you ask me too tough of a question, I won't call on them. But if you want to just chat with them about your situation or your question, happy to have you do so. So here's where we're at. I did good on 30 minutes, was the goal there. Tell us you didn't even have to do much to do. We're going to take the next 30 minutes or so, listen to you, hear your questions, your concerns. There are no questions that are off limit. Like I said, we'll try to answer. Hopefully we can answer tonight. If we can't answer tonight, we'll find the answer for you if we can and get back with you. The only thing I will say is be nice. Be nice to me. Be nice to your neighbor. Be nice to everybody else. And we will take one question from you if you want to ask a question, and then we'll get everybody else. And if we have time, we'll come back and do duplicate questions, okay? And I saw your hand first.
Can we turn up the air conditioning and bring
Yeah.
the temperature up in here?
It's
It's
a-
February.
Yeah, a little bit. Can you check the air and see there? I'm with you.
I'll think it's blowing now.
All right, so Cal used this one question, Ann?
About a month ago, you and I had a conversation about speeding on Carl Daly Road, and you're gonna talk to Chief about that. And I was wondering if you had an update on that situation.
Okay, I told you if you asked the tough questions, I was gonna turn to them. So, we did talk about the speeding there, and I know you all have looked at that or have been looking at that. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I was working with, and he's not in here right now, Sergeant Hayes on the day shift. Well, our day shift is 6 in the morning till 6 in the evening. And they have been working up there. One of the issues, and I haven't found anybody that's told them they could, it's kind of hard to find a spot to sit. If someone wants to volunteer us their driveway that we could use, we will be more than happy to sit in their driveway and run
I
radar.
can probably reach out to the neighbors, because I know it's been a concern. They said for 10 years they've been trying to get some kind of situation. I myself have almost been hit twice in the past few months. I've watched my neighbor almost got hit. They're just going way
Yeah.
too fast.
And
So
I-
I can
and-
reach out.
And I drove it the other day as well, to see what you were looking at, and yours is a particularly difficult,
Yeah.
where your street comes out, so a little bit side impaired, you have to get all the way to the end, stop and make sure you look. You can see if you do that. But, yeah, they'll keep working with you all on that. You know, the
I'll
first,
find a neighbor for you, Chief.
the
Yeah,
first,
and
the
you
first
can email
request.
me or call me.
Okay.
The first request that usually comes out of that, you might have even mentioned to me, but not just your neighborhood, other neighborhoods, is we want speed bumps. Well, they want speed bumps until they get speed bumps, and they don't want speed bumps. And so I can say to you, it's almost as unlikely as ever that you would get speed bumps on Carl Daly. That's just not.
What about one of those flashing lights for our street?
Yeah, I don't know what the regulations are on that, but they'll look at that.
Okay.
So, all right, next. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know what the law is or anything, but is there anything the city can do about the coyotes? They are rampant over in Hampton Place. You can hear them howling and screeching at night.
It is mating season too.
So, you know,
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything that the city can do about coyotes. I did one time, however, listen to the police radio, and they had a call on a raccoon that was creating havoc somewhere. And the policeman said to the dispatcher, "The raccoon has been dispatched." You can interpret that however you want. I think it was a rabid one. You know, so, but outside that, I don't know of anything. I think that's a bigger than Irondale situation. They're really all over. I mean, because we've invaded their territory. So, all right, next.
Mr. Mayor, where do we stand on four-laning the Grantsville Road from Old Leeds down to 459?
Great question. Great question. You know, I think many of you know probably that's been under consideration, been worked on for years. It was in process, being looked at when I came in. The bottom line is the cost got so astronomical that there's no way the city was going to be able to do it. So what in our consultation, our work with the state and with the county, the state essentially took it over, but contract has now agreed in principle with the county to do the widening. They're swapping funds and working out the details of it. But so the county will be the one that is responsible for that widening project. Interesting that you asked that question tonight, because just today I opened an envelope that had the agreement for us to sign to say that we're giving up our right or interest to whatever funds were allocated for that, which were not nearly enough to do it. So that basically state funds, so the state could take those and apply them to their agreement with the county. So that letter said, and this is all I know, and if I tell you any more, I'll be making it up. That letter said that the county, part of the agreement with the county in it was they were agreeing to get a contract on a portion of it by March 20th or so, I think. So I have not seen the plans. I mean, we've had our engineers draw, I bet you 15 different variations of that. And now our responsibility is just to make sure they have all of our work. And so it won't be done by the city, but it'll be done through the county with funding from the state. So I know that doesn't answer your question as to when, but at least it let me know today when I opened the envelope that they were working on it. So, next. John?
Is there any possibility of the city enforcing parking in front yard ordinances, out in Rock Ridge particularly? This destroys the neighborhood. We have ordinances on the books and that could be enforced if they were.
Yeah, I think we've looked at that before. I think I've talked with you about that before. There's some ambiguity in what you're saying is for parking versus not, and so we'll just have to look at that, John, I don't have.
I've sent all the information from your laws to everybody on the council. And I'd like for somebody to point out to me the ambiguity,
Yeah,
because I don't see it.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, we'll do that. I saw Deborah's hand.
Yeah. This is for Mr. Pennington. What are they doing at the end of Cahaba Glen? They're putting in all kinds of utilities. Alabama Power's been out there and put up poles. They are marking utilities in
Okay.
the streets.
So not so much for him, maybe. Charles, do you know anything on that? I know they have put the power in, but, or Frank, do you know? Or I didn't figure you knew, so,
I haven't got any word on that either.
yeah.
There's all kinds of.
Yeah, they've not pulled any building permit, so they're not doing any building. They put up the utilities,
Mhm.
so,
And it's not, it's electric and telephone.
right.
So they're planning something. Who do you talk to about what they're going to develop?
Well, before they can develop or build anything, they have to come here and they have to meet with the planning and zoning. And so that's when we will know, is when they come to apply for a building permit, for plans to be approved, that sort of thing. Then we will know, but beyond that, we don't
Well,
know.
it's kind of an inconvenience when they have the 30-foot long pole trucks parked in front of your house for all day, for several days, and our street is not very wide to begin with for two cars to pass each other. And it just, it's just an inconvenience.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I live in the neighborhood, so I know exactly what you're talking about, where you're talking about, really. So, but until they pull a permit or request a permit or request approval of building plans, the city wouldn't have any information on
so
it.
they can upgrade utilities at any point that they want to without any kind of permit or.
I'm not sure what's required on.
They can upgrade their utilities anytime they want to without a building permit.
Okay.
And as far as like marking the easement, they've marked the easement, with paint and little flags throughout the community. So they are planning something.
Yeah, yeah, well, we'll, I have an interest in it as well. Like I said, for those who don't know, I live in the same neighborhood you're talking about. So obviously when I find out, you'll find out. We just don't know at this point, so. Who else? Yes, sir.
You're talking about, on Carl Daly, now on Old Leeds Road with the new development where the Mountain Brook Tennis and Swimming is, and the main traffic coming out into that road, and the amount of traffic going down Old Leeds Road in the morning. And I'll be quite honest, going down towards Mountain Brook, I've been overtaken many a time on the double yellow lines. I can see going to be a serious accident at that entrance. A serious accident. I want to know, I did just discuss the matter with the developer, if you're going to put some sort of light on there, but to slow the traffic is, on Old Leeds Road, and I have it every morning. They just come down there and they're on their cell phones, and if you don't get up fast enough, start horning at you. I was just curious, I know it's very hard to park
Yeah.
there because it's.
I was gonna ask Frank, that's county road, right?
Yes.
All those- Yeah, so any light, again, which I think would be kind of like getting speed bumps on Carl Daly, but any light would have to come
But
through.
there's going to be serious accidents there because no one is, they letting people go over the double yellow lines just to overtake them.
I thought you were gonna say there for a minute, the bicycles overtook you, but,
The bicycles can go faster.
no, I wasn't saying that negatively. All right, yeah, I mean,
It's
that's,
very dangerous.
yeah,
Isn't it?
I understand what you're saying. Yes, sir.
Thibodeau's property that was sold is for sale again.
Yes, sir.
Whatever the guy was gonna do there, I guess it fell through.
Yes, sir. Well, apparently he changed his mind. So,
So now he's stuck with it instead of Bob Thibodeau.
He is the owner. He is the owner, and it is for sale. You could be the owner too.
That little insurance company, they've added a building in the back.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing.
That's an addition onto it. Marty?
The house at the corner of Belmont and Old Leeds was torn down, and a lot of that property has been cleared. Is next to
Oh, okay.
EWTN. What, is that the EWTN?
Yeah, that's EWTN property, and I think they're not building anything there.
No, sir, not at this point.
Yeah, I think they were just redoing their entrance or something, or,
What
yeah,
about,
Steve.
Cindy said the main protagonist, their CEO, just thought the property did not look good. He wanted it cleaned up and looking better, so they own the property, they own the house, so they're clearing it off. Eventually, they may change the entrance, but right now, it's just to make everything look better. Are they gonna do something with that gravel lot since they took? We have no idea.
They took
They're
down
not,
the
again, they're not building, they're just leveling the lot, I guess is the best way to look at it.
Yeah, but that is the EWTN property, and so. Yes, ma'am?
If, we live in Bainbridge Trace, and as you come out, Belmont curves to the left. So as we're coming out, we don't see cars a lot of times till they're on us. And there are those round mirror things that you can tilt so you can see a car coming. And there's a power pole there. Who would we contact if we got the neighborhood to pay for the mirror thing? to put that
Frank,
up?
is that something? All right, Frank's volunteered for that one.
Thank you, sir, to have another.
We can't pass that one off to the county because that's our road. Don?
Friends, Romans, neighbors, countrymen, supervisors, Chief, Mr. Desmond, the mayor, I'm gonna incorporate all my buddies. Our green space needs some work. We need some new benches, and, they are wooden and they are, dilapidated, and we just need some, and we need the roofs over the swings. We need them to be finished.
Sounds like a great community project.
You just lost a bunch of buddies there.
I know. Gee, Frank, everybody.
Sounds like a great community project. Grill some hot dogs out there on Saturday.
See? Oh, did you say you'd like to do that?
You get the group together, though.
Start a GoFundMe.
That's a good
Just for you.
At the community, at the chamber meeting, you gave a list of some of the businesses and organizations in Irondale that are in the top 10. Do you have that? Could you share that with them?
I think I can do it mostly from memory.
It was real interesting.
Yeah. So what she's referring to is that we have a number of businesses or organizations in Irondale that are in the top tier of their industry, whatever business that they're in. EWTN is one of those. EWTN is the largest Christian broadcasting network in the world. The largest. JCIB, kind of a no-brainer, regularly is in the top 10, sometimes has been as high as number 1 in terms of schools in the country. The Home Builders Association is located off Grants Mill Road there. It's consistently in the top 5 of home builders associations in the U.S. Motion Industries is huge. I don't know where they rank, but they are huge in their line of business and distribution. I mean, they are just a huge, huge conglomeration of various businesses. If I knew and named all the businesses, you would know some of those. For example, they own Napa. That's just an example. I mean, they sell everything from ball bearings to big equipment and stuff. So, coming on down, Tricia, you may have to help me. IBML, which probably most of you don't even know what IBML does. You'd have no reason to really know what they do. They're located up on 78 there in the old car dealership building. Used to be a car dealership years ago. They are in the top tier of their business, which is data imaging, what, James?
Imaging and scanning.
And scanning. They developed the machines that can do high-speed scanning for businesses that are needing to go digital.
And banks.
Who?
And banks. Wood Foosker?
Yeah, Woodford-Acre's large, they're not the largest. Habitat for Humanity, we're consistently in the top 10 in the country among our peers, have been as high as number 4. And who else? Is anything that? I think that's pretty much the list. I have to always stop and think. I know them, but I have to kind of go down the line and make sure I don't miss it. It's kind of like naming department heads.
What about Creative Concepts, Pucker Power?
Yeah, they're an interesting business.
About the
They're Disney World.
company down on 78, you know, Bruno's building.
Which one?
No,
Oh, no, yeah, I mean, I was only naming ones that were, those are all good businesses. I was naming ones that were basically in the top 10 of their industry in the US or the world, so. But when you stop and think about that, that's 5 or 6 in Irondale that are right up at the top, you know, which is really quite remarkable. So, who else has a question? Yes, ma'am.
We have a neighborhood situation.
Okay.
With a lot of cars and trucks. Who do we talk about? Who do we talk to about that?
Okay, I'm gonna put up, put it up, okay? Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna tell you what's there, if you can't see it, we'll leave that up, you can come up and you can write the numbers down. I've already introduced myself, I'm Charles Moore. That is my personal cell phone number, so you can reach me anytime on that if you want. I'm one of the crazy ones, I put it out there because I figure, you know, no matter what it is, they're gonna find me anyway, so here's my philosophy on that. If you're gonna find me anyway, I wanna make it easy for you to find me so that you're not frustrated about how you had to get to me, so I give you my cell phone number. All right, so it makes it easy. Public Works number is up there. You can call them on the issue that you had, or more likely, Charles Desmond, who's sitting here on the front row. His number is up there. And the police non-emergency number is up there. Of course, you know, if you have an emergency, call 911. So for all of you, on any code violations, high weeds, abandoned vehicles, inoperable vehicles, any of those kinds of things, that we had dilapidated houses and buildings and that sort of thing, and that's what that list was that we put up there that you couldn't read, was a whole list of basically addresses that we've gone in and we've cured some issue or some problem. So if you have what you think is a violation of something like that, then it should come in to Charles Desmond, and he will investigate that, and he will look at how that applies to the code and take whatever action is appropriate at that point. Yes, sir.
Exchange Club has been a public service organization in Irondale since 1986, and we meet twice a month, excuse me. And this Tuesday, next Tuesday, we're having the new Jefferson County Sheriff Mark Petway, to speak at 11:30 on Tuesday. So everybody's invited. I've got some little sheets here to give you a little bit more information about it.
Okay, thank you, John. All right, I've gone through 2 batteries on microphones, so I'm with microphones, but I will take any last question. Yes.
What's being built on the Grantswood school property on the field?
It's an expansion of Grantswood School. Elementary school.
We have enough enrollment to.
Oh yeah, they're doing a huge expansion there, because all the kids that were formerly going to, that were zoned to go to Gresham are now going to be back in Irondale.
And Irondale Community Schools also doing a huge expansion.
Yeah, because they had to incorporate all of those, because they sold that building, the Gresham building was sold to Destiny.
I think they're gonna change the grading system there too, so.
Yeah, that's gonna change, I don't know, I can't speak to that.
How's the collection of our occupational tax going?
How is the collection of our occupational tax coming? I'll defer that to the city clerk. I think we're on target. Want to know how the collection of the occupational tax is coming along?
For the first 4 months, we've averaged between $225,000 to $250,000 a month.
Oh, there's my benches.
And some bushes?
And groups for the swings.
All right, any other reasonable comment?
I have
All right, quickly, you already had your turn. Bill.
I wanted to thank Mr. Desmond. We have had some issues in our community and grass as tall as I am, and you have just been so great to get all of that taken care of, and I just want to, I've never met you, so I just wanted to thank you for being such a great help in our community.
Pleasure to serve.
I will say, and I'll say this about all our staff, but I was in that area, we've gotten so much more done in the last year. Since Charles has been with us than probably 10 years before.
He certainly done a lot in our community.
Yes, ma'am.
And I do have a very positive comment. I would love to say thank you for cutting back the bushes at the Old Leeds Road exit off of 20, because you used to have to pull out into the intersection to see if cars were coming. And somebody cut them back, and now you can actually stop.
We'll take credit for it. I want to thank Ron Bishop. I want to thank Ron Bishop for videotaping city council meetings and meetings like this. Ron does that. So, if you ever want to know what really went on, which I can't imagine that, unless you just had an interest, but I mean, if you want to sit and watch an hour-long city council meeting or work session, Ron posts those up, usually within a week or so of it happening.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ron, for doing that. We certainly appreciate that. I find it helpful occasionally, occasionally I have to go back and say, did I really say that? She said I said that. Did I really say that? It's helpful for me. Thank you very much. So, any other question before we go from here? You've done really well. Ben?
When do you expect to have the plan back for redoing Ruffin Park? You're just doing
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. We sent out an RFP about 30 days ago. So the RFPs are supposed to be back Monday at 2 o'clock.
Next Monday?
The 11th, February 11th at 2 o'clock was the deadline for individuals that were interested in submitting a proposal for that RFP.
So to answer your question, so then the next step, the plan, it will be some months. It's not going to be weeks. It'll be several months before I would guess before the plan is back.
Yes, it'll probably be at least 60 to 90 days from the time that we receive the proposals, or having to vet the proposals and go through that process of critiquing them and then identifying the one that's a perfect fit for us.
That sort of thing. But it's in process. Put it that way. Yes, ma'am.
Grants Mill, what about getting the potholes fixed? The other day we went down and there was a huge one. Well, it was patched, but 5 feet down over on the left.
Is this on the windy part going down the hill?
On the left, the road goes like this and then.
Okay. We just reported one, a week or so ago, and the county came out and did it. The county does it. But, so I would encourage you,
Well, there's several, because of when Mercedes was built, all those trucks coming through there.
Yeah, no, it's rough.
You need to go all the way through there.
It's
and
rough.
There's a bunch of.
So let me just encourage you to do this. I don't know, I didn't look up the county number, but call the county on it. And you feel free to send it to us too, because when we get it, if it's not ours, we're gonna send it to them.
Okay.
So, but it's good if they hear from you as well. Because I know the one I got, someone responded to us thinking it was our responsibility, and it was the county's responsibility, but I got it, I sent it to Frank sent it over, and with less than 24 hours, they had it patched. But it is rough shape, so, yeah, it doesn't mean it didn't take a little initiative. Yeah, I understand. They're not city workers. City workers would have gotten it all.
Joe Knight is the commissioner for both of Irondale, and you would probably want to contact Joe Knight.
I think Patricia's getting ready to put their number up there for you, so if you wanna come up afterwards and write numbers down, we'll leave that screen up there. That's all I have for you. Let me just say again, thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for participating. We do this, hopefully it's a benefit to you. People say, well, I don't know where to go or how to get my questions answered or whatever. We want to be accessible to you. We want to be available to you. We'll do this again. The plan is it'll probably be several months out before we schedule another one, but we try to get the word out as best we can. So thank you for, obviously you heard about it, so thank you for coming. Yes, ma'am.
So what would perpetuate a sooner town hall meeting, if somebody buys Sam's or Siesta's gonna be torn down?
Not really.
Big things that are happening, would that precipitate another town, so we can find out?
I mean, if there's a big event or something like that, then we might structure one around it. But remember, these are structured to be open forums, so not any one specific event or whatever driven. So, we try to do about 3 a year, so which gives us a pretty good range in there that 3 or 4 a year. Yes, sir, Cal.
Can we get this put on the city website, updates and stuff?
Yeah, what are you talking about, like the video?
Like say, Sam's or whatever.
Oh, yeah, we'll try to get out the word for you, but the video of all this that's been talked about tonight will be posted, right, Ron?
Yeah, it'll be on the YouTube channel, and then if you want to put that on the city website, you can put that link directly out to it.
Okay. But yeah, we try to post, to the city website. We can't cover it. I know you all are on there's umpteen dozen different Facebook pages and stuff like that. And some of you are really good about sharing it. We put it on the city Facebook page and the city website if it's something that we want to get out and get the word out. And then people pick it up, and share it, and it's populated out there. So, all right. Thank you again. I'll be hanging around. The department heads will be here for a few minutes. If you have any questions you want to ask them specifically. Appreciate you being here.